now. Who knows?
I'll
Who
let you
knows?
know.
Okay.
Is it working? Is it working? Is it working?
Yeah,
working?
it is. It is working.
I don't see it on the FB.
I declare it working.
Yep,
Yep.
I just got it on the Planet and Facebook.
Yes.
You nerds.
Woo-hoo.
I love it. Every show just starts with, is it working? Is
I
it
know. That's kind of our call sign, you know. And we're streaming on YouTube, so that's even better. Oh, somebody's got their volume on.
Yeah, don't yell at me, okay?
My bad.
You might be little bitch.
That was me. Yeah, we've been streaming though, yeah.
Okay, good.
We've been streaming.
Guys, welcome to, can you believe it, episode 14 of Boxed In with Friends. I'm your host, Tony Augusti. Yeah, I know, isn't that crazy? I'm your host, Tony Augusti, here with Kate Holmes, Kyle O'Neill, and Jake Russell, Caitlin, Nick, and Andy Maz couldn't be here because they've previously all performed in blackface, and we don't deal with that anymore, guys. We're just following the lead of everybody. Yeah, canceled. No, they've never performed in blackface. They're all pro BLM, but they just couldn't make it today for a number of reasons. But they are here in spirit.
Yay.
Right, guys? Yay. Tonight we've got a great show. Stand-up comedian Esther Nevarez and improviser Esther Nevarez. They're the same person. I should have said both titles at first. But they're both here in one body. And then also Lee Cleaveland, local musician who's in Detroit right now, will be by.
Yay.
So, you know, since Kate's the only person here of the female persuasion, we decided that our hot topic for today would be
every other improv set.
Ask Kate womanly questions. This was Kate's idea, by the way.
It was my idea.
Yeah. So, Jake, you had a womanly question. Do you remember what it was?
Yeah.
Well, we all found out that.
Go ahead, Tony.
Well, the first thing, this started out because I didn't know that after, maybe I'm uneducated, but I didn't know that after a woman has a baby, she has to wait 12 weeks. I didn't know the number was 12 weeks.
He doesn't have to. There's no cops involved.
Okay, well, there's something that sounds like cops involved, but there's.
You will get arrested if you have sex before 12 weeks.
So I didn't know that, and then that inspired this whole thing. Let's see. So Jake, go ahead with your question.
Yeah, my question wasn't serious, but whatever. I'll ask it anyway. Hey, Kate, what context of bitch do you accept?
I accept only one context, and that's little bitch.
Little bitch.
That sounds like a rapper name.
Little bit. So, but I gotta say it in that work, like in that same voice, like little bitch.
Little bitch. Yeah, only in that voice. If you come at me like little bitch, I'm not gonna like it.
No, well, so, yeah, I wouldn't do that to you, but like, you know.
So let's say we're talking, Kate, and I'm like, bitch, you know, like that. You wouldn't accept that, would you?
I don't know, because that was kind of adorable.
From me specifically.
From
really?
you, yes, I would accept that. See, I think it's a person by person basis, actually.
This is a fight that I had with my sister.
Because I wouldn't let Kyle say it to me in any context.
Oh. So this is a fight I had with my sister for probably going on 20 years. Not a fight, but a difference of opinion. Like where she was like, you cannot say bitch in front of me, you know, but she would call her friends bitch all the time, or that bitch, you know, and I'd be like, why? And she's like, because it's disrespectful, but I just want to be like your girlfriends, you know what I mean? Where they're like, bitch, you crazy, you know, or that bitch is crazy, you know what I mean?
I really love that.
Yeah.
Context.
And
but
you know me, I'm not a person that throws bitch around, you know what I mean? Like a lot or at all. And and then once like most toys, like once I got it, I never used it. I was like, I never say it on her, so. But she's fine. I was like, fine.
I genuinely don't have an issue with the word. I think it's fun to throw it around. I don't like it necessarily in improv scenes, though.
No,
if I'm being honest, because I always feel like whenever it's said in an improv scene, it's always said with such like purpose, because I'm a female improviser, and that's always seems to be the go-to is like, you're being such a bitch.
Yeah.
I'm like,
why
can't I just be a complicated person?
And that's just in class.
A gendered word. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
That's just in class.
Well, see, that's what I do. Like, what I usually just say is if I think of if a woman's bothering me or whatever, I just say you're being an asshole. You know?
Yeah. Oh, I would far more.
Because it's less loaded.
That. Yeah.
I call women a lot of shit before I call her a bitch. I use like usually.
Let's go down the line.
Yeah, huh?
Yeah, let's do it.
Yeah. Let's hear your list of words before you get to bitch.
Asshole, piece of shit.
Yeah.
You call a woman a piece of shit? That seems worse than calling her.
I think that's fine.
Everyone can be a piece of shit.
Yo, punk ass.
Yeah, punk ass is good. Yeah.
Punk motherfucker.
These are all things Jake
whole
calls.
ass motherfucker.
Whole ass. Ooh.
Like shit or like shit like that. Like you know what I'm saying? Like,
but you also call men that too.
You said what?
You also call men those things.
Yeah.
Yeah, like you know what I'm saying? Well, I'll call a man a bitch before I call a woman a bitch.
Yeah, same.
Yeah, same.
Yeah. It takes a lot for me to call a woman a bitch. Like she has to piss me off, like beyond, like just beyond pretty much for me to call her.
Yeah.
Like it takes a lot. If I call a girl a bitch, like and with like just purpose, very stern, I'm pissed off. Like she.
Now, would you ever call your mother a bitch, Kate?
No.
Me call my mom a bitch?
Or saying you're being a bitch?
Fairly sure I have.
Really?
My
Okay.
whole life.
I would never.
I was not a great teenager.
Upon fear of death, I would not do that.
Well, my mom's well, I only feared my dad.
Oh, really?
My mom isn't. She wasn't an immigrant. She's like a tiny little Texan.
Oh,
you know what I mean? So my dad was the foreigner that I feared. My mom was like a little mouse.
Like build a wall around this guy. You know what I'm saying?
Foreigner that I feared. That's
I know. That was very.
That's the story I'm writing.
I love my dad very much. He's hilarious. He's not terrifying.
Would you ever call your mom a bitch, or have you, Kyle?
I've
no, I would never. I might have as a teenager, and
so you did.
I don't know. I don't think I did. I think I said fuck you to her once, and I instantly regretted it.
Did you get spanked?
Or did she cry? That would be the worst if she started crying.
Yeah.
I don't think she cried, but she got very mad, rightfully so. And I that's all I remember about that situation.
Oh, so you blacked out. She must have beaten you since. Now, Jake, have you ever sworn around? Do you swear around your mom, or you call your mom a bitch ever? Or do you ever relate a story like bitches be tripping? I could not imagine him.
No, I never called my mom a bitch, and never.
Yeah, I haven't either.
Said bitch. I really don't cuss around my mom like unless I'm like really mad.
Yeah.
Like unless I get really mad about my mom, I generally don't cuss around her.
I don't swear.
Or if somebody else pissed me off, like me and my mom somewhere. Like there was this time I was driving, and this is like right around the time my dad died too. Like we was some, I forgot where he was at, but some asshole was just mad because we were in the way.
Bitch.
Bitch. This guy, and he drove like all he had to do was just go around us. I think we was at some like Salvation Army or somewhere. We just like give us some stuff away or whatever, and he was just grilling me and my mom. And, like he you know what I'm saying? He's looking at my mom, cussing at her. So I just went ballistic. Like I cussed him out. You know what I'm saying? And I got in his face, and my mom got scared. Like leave him alone. He look crazy. He a white dude. He got tattoos. He look crazy and shit. All this other shit. I just got mad, man. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, no. But was she also secretly proud of you? She was like, "That's how you do it."
Yeah, I'm pretty sure she was. We never really talked about it again, but like, she know like I ain't gonna like let nobody disrespect her and shit. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
I think that's endearing because you were protecting her and you were kind of like standing up for her a little bit.
But like,
I love that shit.
But she was more scared.
There's nothing sexier than a man protecting his mom.
Yeah. Answering a question from Mahmood in the chat. I don't want them to curse, Mahmood. He's like, Tony, why do you want them to curse? I'm like, I don't want them to curse. I was just curious. It just got on,
you know what? I was at a Thanksgiving dinner at my aunt's house, and we were just like all sitting at the table, and my aunt just looked at me, and I was like, in my 20s at this point, and she was just like, "Do you swear?" And I was like, I guess sometimes I've sworn. Like, what? And I didn't know how to answer that, but I have said a few swear words in my time.
What?
Yeah. I don't know. I feel like we grew up swearing in my house.
Yeah.
I've never heard my dad swear.
To this day. See, my parents swore in another language, which was fine.
Same, yeah.
The only time I've ever heard my dad swear is I have a wallet that my friend gave to me when I stood in his wedding, and it has Snoopy laying on his doghouse, and it just says "fuck it" under it.
Yeah.
And then I showed my dad that, and he just looked at it and he goes, "Fuck it." That's what I'm trying
to That's so precious. Your dad is a literal angel,
Yeah.
Kyle.
Jake, what were you gonna say something?
No, I just said say back in I never really tried. I never really there's a lot of guys who refer to women as bitches, like when you refer to women like bitches be doing, bitches be this, bitches be that, shit like that.
Yeah.
I never really did that, but I did do I did say, man, these hoes getting on my nerve. These hoes.
I like that though.
That's much better, much more respectful.
No, it's much more respectful. These hoes. But
I call myself a Lil Ho every day.
That's also a good rap name. I'm surprised there's not a rapper called Lil Ho.
Albeit.
Could be Asian.
But one term that cracked me up is when women are referred to as heifers. I think that's hilarious.
I love that. I love saying that. That's what I say to my group chat of girls. I'm like, you heifers aren't listening to me.
That's what I mean. It's usually women referring to other women. I don't really hear guys saying that.
That's true.
Yeah. Like these broad is another one.
Another topic. I'm going to switch hot topics on you. With the protests going on, we're still hearing stories of people getting killed by the police, people showing up hung from branches from alleged suicides and stuff. Do you think that the Black Lives Matter movement is cooling the momentum of it? Because it seems like, I'm just saying, like in terms of media coverage, I've noticed that there's more stories about Corona growing and stuff, and not that it should be, but what do you guys think about that? And what are ways to keep it going? Because I think it's, this is my concern, about with the protests, is it just going to be the protests? Are people going to move on to the next thing when really it should be about affecting action and change?
Well, I think it's still every city is still having protests every day. And just yesterday, Detroit police ran over a few protesters.
Yeah.
That video was fucking nuts though.
Yeah. So I don't know. I think especially just with how crazy everything is, they're not going to stop, and they shouldn't stop because we have slowly seen little change, and I don't think it's nearly enough, but it's starting. I just saw an article today that LA is has a proposal to defund the police budget even more. I read I saw the link on a Fox News article, and so I read it from that source, and the article's written as if it's a bad thing, but
oh really?
Yeah.
I also saw that Mississippi is talking about taking steps to remove the Confederate flag from
they already voted on it.
Yeah. I mean, so it's a done deal.
That should be a no-brainer.
That's huge, though.
It is huge.
Mm-hmm.
But I totally don't understand. Trump signed an executive order that protects statues.
Well, I mean, you could go on and on about, this could be a whole show about how what a wackadoo that guy is.
Executive order to protect monuments and shit. Shit. Yeah, man.
I mean, people can literally read a book to learn things. You know what I mean? It doesn't have to be in our faces every day. That Germany, there's no statues of Hitler. There's no Nazi flags because it's forbidden. Yeah. And that's their history, but they're so ashamed of it. You know what I mean? They're so remorseful about it that they don't want any of it displayed, but you can still learn about it.
Yeah.
So why aren't we shamed?
Yeah, we should be.
In the same, we should be totally be ashamed.
Because we have some of the most stupidest people on the planet.
Well, look at our country's handling Corona. We're the absolute worst. We're spiked way back up to where we were.
Well, I was just reading a thing today. I forgot, maybe when you posted it on Facebook, it said there's only been 6 cases or something, or 6 Corona deaths in Hong Kong because people wear masks. You know?
Yeah.
It's so simple.
85 cases in Lansing at the bar.
Yeah.
Oh, at Harper's. As soon as I saw that, I was like, it reminded me of Harpo. Some of you might know.
I know Harpo's, which would make sense as well. But
there was the one today of I don't remember where, but the Planet Fitness, one of the states that opened up the gyms.
Yeah.
A member just got tested positive, so over 200 people are now affected at just this gym because of it. Yeah. So it's we're rushing to open things, but even with us opening things, people aren't wearing masks now because things are open, so they feel safe. I don't understand it.
I don't get it. So my cousin got married this weekend in Ohio. And
oh, congrats! Yeah, we should mention. Did we mention last week that Kyle's back in town?
I think we did.
Okay. He's still in town in Michigan, in Livonia.
But so, like, I went with my parents and then my brother and his girlfriend, and we were told there'd be like social distancing measures and people would be wearing masks. We get in there, we walk in, 100 people not wearing masks.
Wow.
I would have walked right out.
We went to the back. There was like one other couple wearing masks. We watched my cousin's dumb friend marry them. And then and then
you want to shout out your cousin?
Hi.
No, he just the guy married him just made it about him, I felt.
Oh, that's the worst.
That's not fun.
But anyway,
that reminds me of a story. No, just kidding. All right.
And we just my parents especially didn't feel uncomfortable, so we just left.
Yeah. Is it too late to give back take back your gift, or did you buy it online?
I didn't have a gift.
Oh, you didn't get them a gift?
No, I did get them a gift.
I
gave it. I made sure I left it.
You should have swapped it out with a box of masks.
Yeah, that could have been the gift.
Mm-hmm.
You know what? Why don't we bring on our guest? That's a segue
for you. Good, because there's too much
guests.
dick energy in this room.
Yeah. Later on in the hour, second half of the hour, Lee Cleaveland. But our first guest was, I guess, supposed to be on last week, but couldn't make it. So we spaced out her into this week. She is a member of the Detroit. She's a transplant member of the Detroit community, now living in LA, pursuing a comedy career and other things. Ooh. Please welcome, she's a stand-up and improviser of some renown. Please welcome Esther Nevarez, everybody.
Yay! Hi, Esther.
What up, though?
Hi.
Thanks for being on.
Sure that you can hear me correctly, because I know last week Jeff.
No, it's a good volume. Yeah, well, we should say you're an audio engineer by trade. So I was, you're
really?
Of any guests that we've had on, I'm probably the least worried about your audio. Like, I didn't even do a test call. I'm like, Esther knows what she's doing.
I can't hear what you guys hear. So if you hear something, let me know and I'll turn it down.
Okay.
That sounds good.
Yeah.
Cool.
So, you're out in LA now. And how are things out there in terms of everything that's going on? How long have you been out in LA, first of all? Not that long.
I have been, I'm trying to set this all up so this doesn't all look super weird. I have been here since May before last. So a little over a year now.
Okay, longer than I thought.
Yeah, which I asked some friends of mine here. I was like, "What? I feel like I just got here." So I don't know how that translates to everyone else's experience. And they said, oh yeah, it takes like, they say after your second year. So they say like in your third year, you start sort of feeling like, oh, I think I feel like I've been here for a minute.
Like you're an Angelino. I think that's what they call them.
That's good to know, because I've been there like 8 months and I'm like, it doesn't seem that long, especially with all that's going on.
Yeah. Have you two run into one another?
Yeah.
Yes, we have.
Yeah. She's been
very cool.
My number one friend in comedy in LA.
Oh,
yeah. What are some things you guys would do together?
We would improvise.
Wow.
Go to the jam and then trying to just find other jams. Well, within the jams in LA are hidden pretty much, I would say.
They're hidden?
Really?
Yeah, they're not.
Where are they? Where do you guys go?
One is like
are they cutthroat?
No.
They're just not, nobody cares about them, or people just don't advertise them?
I think I don't know the best way to find them. So I guess they don't advertise in a way that I know how to figure it out yet. Exactly.
But, I feel the UCB one that's like really like well attended every week.
Mm-hmm.
The other ones have been like
yeah. And as we all know, UCB is, going strong. Nothing to worry about there. Yeah. So you live with Jeff Horst, who was our guest last week.
Yes.
And he moved out there a little bit ahead of you. Is that right? Or no? Did you both go at the same time? Okay.
No,
so was that a little easier?
Yeah. Yes and no. Yeah. He moved the January before last.
Oh, okay.
So he's been here a year and a half, and I've been here a little over a year. And I mean, I thought it was good for him to come first just to see what he was getting himself into. And so that we both weren't like diving in full force just in case.
Yeah.
But then, I mean, it was hard just being apart for that long. And
Sure.
then he went back to Michigan to help me move. So he was back in Michigan for a month, and then we drove together.
Wow.
So you are going, so that, that's something you don't see. I mean, you see it in the Detroit community, but not too much, but kind of like a classic story of that. If you really want to go full force after it, like a career in entertainment, you go out to LA or Chicago or New York. Had you been thinking of this for a while, or was it something you guys decided as a couple? Like what prompted your decision? Were you like, I'm going to LA, you can take it or leave it, Jeff? And then, or how'd it go down?
No, he always knew that once he figured out that he wanted to do comedy no matter what, he knew he had to move, because everybody says that, especially with stand-up.
Yeah.
Like with improv, I feel like if you just find a strong community, you get opportunities and you can, be fulfilled and everything. But with stand-up, I feel like it's a constant, like, when are you going to move? When are you going to move? Don't get stuck here. You got to move. So he knew he wanted to move. And so he started looking into the cities that were options, and Chicago really felt for most, it's for most people, it feels semi-lateral, like, and that's only a compliment really to Detroit. Detroit just came up and hasn't stopped coming up.
Yeah. And Detroit improvisers stand to have a good reputation in LA, from what I hear.
Yes.
From Detroit improvisers.
Yeah.
I would love it if Detroit, like, kind of, people came more to Detroit like they would to Chicago.
They closed IO, and who knows what theaters will be left standing at the end of this. I don't
know. Second City's in a bunch of shit too. So I think maybe, give Chicago a break for a little while. Let's make Detroit the hub where people come to. I mean, you also have to, like, SNL did most of their fishing from Second City, and SNL notoriously casts white people. You know what I mean? So maybe, change it up a little bit. Let's see what's up.
Yeah.
Wow, I just went on a rant. I'm so sorry.
I can't imagine Planet Ant going down in that sort of, I mean, in the way, not the way they're going up, but the financial way, because I can picture Darren, like, living in the bathroom at the back of Ghost Light, just like, this is where I live now. We still have a theater. Like,
I definitely feel like if Planet Ant got in a bunch of trouble, the whole community would come together and do something about it. I feel, for sure.
I hope so, but I think they're doing all right. I mean, again, it's hard to know with anything, but you can support them. Go to planetant.com and support them on Patreon, and throw a couple bucks their way. They're helping us, giving us a venue to run the stream, and so we appreciate them. And did you started stand up before improv, or vice versa, Esther?
I started improv, and then was taking improv classes at Mark Ridley's, and they had an improv class there. And then
when was this? Back in the day or recently?
A long time ago.
Oh, okay.
With Rich Goteri.
Okay.
And then they didn't really have, like, Go wasn't around yet, and for whatever reason, I didn't venture over. Well, for whatever reason, being the class that I was in, by the end of it, I felt like we didn't really mesh, and they didn't go on. So I didn't have, like, anyone to, like, go on with. So because I was just kind of alone in that way, I just did stand up because there was a stand up class there too. So I ended up doing stand up and improv at the same time, and felt like there was nowhere for me to go with improv, or no way to judge if I was good. Like, it was a weird situation. And so
was that Bill? Was the name Bill Bouchard?
He did the stand-up class.
Yeah, so you took that. Yeah, I've heard so many improvisers, like, all talk about him, and I've never really heard a bad word about him. No. As a teacher, so as a person, I don't know. Jury's out, guys. That's what we're here to address tonight.
I think
what do you enjoy doing more, improv or stand-up?
I was going back and forth. Like, when one of them annoys me, I just run back to the other one. So that's how I've gone back and forth between, like, here in LA, I feel like I've just gotten more out of improv, probably for, like, all the same reasons. Like, I met a good group of people, and I went to Second City, where there was like a bunch of Detroit people and people were really supportive. And then stand-up wise, it's just so many people trying to get stage time that it's such, you're just in with everybody. So it's just so much harder to figure out a group and a place, and there's so many places. And so
it's just a matter of like getting on the list. Go ahead, Jake.
Yeah.
No, I was saying I found myself liking stand-up better. When I started doing stand-up, I found myself liking that a lot more than improv, because
you're very fun to watch doing stand-up.
But like it's just you get to a point where you're tired of sharing ideas with people sometimes. And then like where is this going? Like, okay, we're going this way now, and like, good to get your own ideas out there. I'm saying.
Yeah.
So I felt like I was feeling stand-up a lot more. But I feel what you're saying, like going back and forth with it though. Like, you know what I'm saying? You feeling like, you know what I'm saying? Yeah. If that makes sense.
Yeah.
So I would ask you, how does it feel like wanting to like pursue a dream like that? It's a thing probably a lot of people think about and never do, and actually going after it. How is the feeling, like the reality versus what? I mean, obviously there's so much craziness going on in between all that, but I mean, you had a little while before that. What was the reality like versus what you thought, and what would you say to other people considering the move?
Well, for one thing, I was going to say about the stand-up and improv thing, with improvisers feel like people that I like, oh, we went to college together. Stand-up people are like, oh, we went to jail together. That's how it feels in that way. like you could tell, I feel like you could tell a stand-up friend like literally anything, and they're like, no, I got your back. It's cool. I'll lie for you. Like that. Okay. Like that whole, and then like, I don't know, maybe improvisers would be more for white collar crime. I don't know. It's just different.
You're on point. I feel like improvisers
back, but they get you as opposed to like kill a man. I don't know, but they're
really cheerful, right? They tap each other in the backs. They get really excited before shows. They're like, we're gonna do this. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. You know, stand-up comedians, they just like they do a line of coke and they get real sad, and then they just go and they just do it.
I feel in LA that they like the stand-ups shit on improvisers a lot more than they.
Yeah, which I think is just so stupid. But I've met a lot of crossovers here too, which is very good.
Yeah.
I feel like moving here, I wanted to be warm over anything. That was why I'm really glad that Jeff decided that LA was where he would choose to be. And also we have more friends here. And LA.
Did you think about New York?
We went and visited, and it's more it's potentially more like stage time stand-up wise, but not as diverse as here, and in what you can do with it. I feel like in LA, if you come up with some kind of idea other than, like stand-up translating over to another sort of entertainment idea, those opportunities are here more potentially. But I do feel like there's and Jeff told me this, and well, our friends told us this before we got here, there's more of everything. There's the same percentage pretty much of like, there's a bunch of people that are good. There's a bunch of people that are mediocre. There's a bunch of people that are terrible. I didn't know there'd be so many terrible people here. Like, oh, wait, hi. I thought it was like, you're good, and then you move to a coast.
Yeah.
Honestly, that's what I thought.
But
I've heard the same story from people. Improv too.
Oh yeah, both for sure. Because I think of like all the amazing improvisers that we all know, and they would blow the minds of most of the people that I've improvised with in LA, and the jams, just everybody, I've seen amazing shows. I've seen great shows. Like I live around the corner from UCB, so I could walk there, and I saw some of the coolest shit, but that mentality of like, I'm not good enough to be in LA. No, that's not a thing. That's for sure not a thing. So that's what I would tell of anybody who wanted to go. It's more of making an opportunity with who you are people always said it's who you know. And I used to think that was like a shitty, like, oh, it's who you know, name dropping, blah, blah, blah. But no, it was actually literally just, somebody and they like you and they think you're not crazy and they think you're good at what you do. So, here's an opportunity I have. I'll call that person because I just talked to them and they're nice and they deserve an opportunity. That was the who you know. So I came in defensive of just like the
one question. One comedian told me that like he's back and forth between Detroit and LA. He was telling me that like there's like a lot of people like who come from like New York or Detroit or what who come or go out to LA, they kind of like blow the LA people out, like they blow them out of the water as far as talent wise, because like the mentality, like the LA mentality, like the California mentality versus like kind of like the Midwestern mentality, stuff like
we've
that.
Seen some shit.
Do you agree with that? Esther?
Well, how badly have you been blowing people out of the water? That's what Jake wants to know.
I'm saying, like, I don't know. He was telling me like, no, like a lot of Cali people got a lazy mentality or something like that versus.
I know, like the Midwest, people talk about the Midwest work ethic here, and I've heard that just in my like job too. They're like, people will give me advice on just trying to find work as an audio engineer, and they're like, oh well, they'll already know that you're a good worker because you're from the Midwest. Like that's already a thing. And then Detroit has a great reputation stand-up wise, and I have seen people from Detroit like at open mics and such like go up and blow enough people there from Detroit have blown people out of the water that already people are like, oh, you're from Detroit? Oh, okay. Well, then we already know that you at least came up around talented people. And it's pretty much, I mean, with improv too, like I saw, Bottle of Red with Nancy and
that was recently, right? This year?
It was this year. Yeah. That the people in my class, some stayed to watch that. And it was just like improv group. They came on and everyone was like, holy shit. Like,
like, they're just so incredible.
Really good. Yeah. But I feel like we're spoiled with in Detroit.
Yeah.
And I don't know why. It's just, I don't know if it's one of those things where it's like you suffer through Detroit being a hard environment. So then just art comes out better. I don't know.
Yeah, you gotta laugh at something, And tying on to that, you mentioned for class. This is class out in LA. You're in the conservatory, right, at Second City in LA.
Yes.
And you're also part of a troupe called Brawny Comedy. Am I getting that right? And you actually have shows. If you search for, is it just Brawny Comedy or the Brawny Comedy Show?
The Brawny Comedy Show, but I think Brawny Comedy will come up if you go on YouTube.
You have 2 episodes up. I've seen them both, and they're very well produced, and there's some funny stuff in there. Yay. And can you talk a little bit about how you've been doing that? Just because so many people have been talking about like, well, I don't know what I'm going to do now, or I'm like not doing anything. But you guys have managed to put complete 20+ minute shows together, which is very impressive. So if you could talk a little about that in your class. So it sounds like, unlike your Mark Ridley's class, you found a class that you stick with.
Well, what happened was I got to test into the conservatory, which is cool, at Second City because Planet Ant has a good reputation because of Nancy. So
and you made it, so there you go.
I got to,
reputation deserved.
I got to skip improv 1 through 3, and then while I was in Conservatory 1, they had a sketch show audition. Their sketch troops, they do it a little different than Planet Ant does in the way of you audition to be in a sketch group, and then they have this sketch group go on and write their shows, and they get a director. So we did that right before quarantine. I auditioned and made it with a bunch of other people who I think all of the people in my sketch group have already been through conservatory. They've already graduated. So they threw us all together. Then our first meeting was on Zoom. And we're like, what do we do? It just was the beginning of quarantine. Like, okay. And our director was a guy named Billy Bungsworth. Hope I'm saying his last name right. Probably saying it wrong. Sorry,
That's
Billy.
Fine. He'll drive you out of the business. It's Bosworth.
But he does a show with Second City that Second City put out on a network called Topic, and it was a quarantine show. It's called the Last Show on Earth, I believe, and it's really cool. It's a sketch show, and it's kind of like how SNL put out their sketch show during
SNL at home,
and it was a lot like that. So he motivated us to be like, well, we can't be on stage, so let's just produce a show. And then after the second meeting, he left us, and then we were like, oh, should we just do it? So they were the people in the sketch group were like the group that like when I was trying to find improv and trying to figure out improv in LA, Jamie Moyer was like, you'll find your people. She was all excited. She was like, oh, you just wait, you'll find your people. And so those were
that's a pretty good impression. I like that.
And I'm not even doing my
I know, I could tell you're holding back. And
I'm holding back, trying not to, just in case.
She loves it.
She told me that, and I was like, yeah, these are great people. So they are all super talented, have done tons of stuff, all went through Second City, and they were motivated to put stuff together. And so that's what came out of it. The director, now our director is Adam Peacock, and he's from
shout out
Detroit.
Detroit.
And
I believe he's on the Planet at Home team, I think. I'm almost positive. Might be wrong.
I know he went through Second City, Detroit, and then went to Chicago, and they're meeting right now, so I know he's not watching.
Yeah. Now it's time to talk shit.
Yeah. Come a little bitch.
Yeah.
But that was kind of that was all the inspiration. And then they, like one of the women in the group, her husband is a professional snowboarder, and he makes snowboard videos. And it was just like another one. Her boyfriend is an artist, and he drew our stuff. And then one of their significant others composed the music. And it was just like everybody wanted to work together and help. And Jeff's been in some of the stuff. And
yeah, I've seen him. Yeah, in the car wash one. It looks like they sprayed right into his car on that too. So I was like, that's commitment.
They got around it, but I was super impressed. Their production quality.
Yeah, I was like, oh, this is like the LA difference, maybe. You know what I mean? It's just like it's just well put together. Even like the little blackouts you have with the Brawny comedy, like little workout themed things that aren't even like it works. It flows very well. And I was like, oh man.
I posted the YouTube link if anybody wants to go and check it out in the
chat. I also posted on YouTube as well. It's worth watching both episodes. Do you have like a schedule those? Yeah.
That is the thing that is a big difference. It's like in Michigan, show people stuff, cool, great. In LA, it's like, oh, I'm gonna show my manager this. Oh, I'm gonna make sure my agent sees. It was like, you have an agent? And like nobody's, so far, at least the people that I've met, nobody's arrogant about it. It's so matter of fact, like, oh yeah,
maybe because so many people have that experience, We'll talk to you next year, and it'll be your like next month, and you'll be like, "Oh, my agent says, never do this show again." But I told him I'm going back on Boxed In with Friends.
Oh my god!
Well, Esther,
we actually make you sign a contract that you can never say no to us.
Yeah, you can never. We're your management now. That's how it works. Esther, you have been delayed. I didn't even get to mentioning your. We talked more with Jeff about the vegan cooking show, Hungry as a Horse.
Yeah.
But you can also check that out on the Planet Ant channel on Saturdays.
I love it.
Actually, we were wondering, you want to hang around with the friends for the rest of the show?
For sure.
All right, cool. You're officially a friend now. I mean, you always were, but you passed the test, and you can hang. You can hang with us. Kyle, why don't you bring on our next guest?
All right. Our next guest is Lee Cleaveland. He's a musician from Detroit, and he's a good friend of mine, and he has a little bit in common with me. Hey Lee,
did you guys make the penises kiss?
Hey, we have not made our penises kiss yet.
Not yet.
Have we?
Not that I remember.
Yeah. Okay. Hi Lee.
How's it going?
Hi Lee.
Hello.
You probably every interview starts like this, right?
Yeah. Have we made our penises kiss?
God.
Jake, stop. You've made your penis.
It's just natural love. Will you knock it off?
Yeah.
Dude, damn.
So Lee, what's up? You're a freak like me.
Yeah.
This is
gang.
limb different.
I think you mean differently limbed, Kyle.
Limb different, Tony.
Limb different.
I
I'm
don't
not
know.
indifferent. I care about these things.
Do you have a preference, Lee?
I just call it my nub, but I spell it with a silent K.
Okay.
Oh,
I don't know.
That's cool. Yeah, I didn't know of the term limb different until recently, really. I never had a name for it, but
I guess it's like
my hand.
Encompassing term for people that some people have all their limbs, but they're not shaped the right way, or they're just missing a finger, or they're an amputee.
Mm-hmm.
But I'm like you, I was just born missing parts.
Yeah, but we still fuck, really.
Oh, yeah.
Now, does that have anything to do with you two meeting, or no? It just happened to be.
Kind of. We actually met through a friend of the show, Dan Campbell.
Shout out.
He was playing a show at Max Bar in Lansing, and I believe your band was opening up, right?
Yes, we were.
And so he just introduced us, and then we tried to shake hands, but we're missing opposite hands, so it was
Awkward.
It wasn't.
It's kind of like a meet cute.
Yeah, exactly.
It was funny.
And then we became friends, and then there's a organization around here, Detroit, that's it's an international organization now, but it's called Lucky Finn Project, and it's for kids with limb differences, and we're the older kids that hang out and get drunk after the picnic.
You get the other kids drunk? Is that what you do?
Yeah.
Well, we'll see.
That's why they call him Uncle Kyle.
Yeah.
It's Uncle Kyle.
Yeah.
It's like, why is that man at a picnic with a bathrobe?
Mm-hmm. Lee also, right before I moved to LA, I had like a little going away thing at Planet Ant at the Ghost Light, and Lee, he got me a going away gift that was like he brought me a box that was wrapped in like wrapping paper, and I opened it, and it was all just his left-handed gloves.
One man's trash is another man's
That's
treasure.
really nice.
Wow. Oh, you have a.
Wow.
That's so funny.
Yeah. Because when we met, we're like when we couldn't shake hands, we were like, we should go glove shopping sometime.
There's a bit.
Save a ton of money.
Yeah. We're gonna do a show called glove shopping.
I think there's a site, Jake, but you might know about it, but like for sneakers, like if you have like one foot or differently limbed on one foot, like they match you up with somebody who has the other foot, missing, and then you can like go in on shoes together.
Yeah, Jake, what's that website?
Yeah, Jake.
I don't know.
Help us out, dude.
Theotherfoot.com.
Obviously.
Theotherfoot.com.
Yeah, classic.
I don't even know if Tony, is this real thing, Tony?
No, it's a real thing. It's a real thing.
I kind of don't believe you, but
you can't tell it's a bit anymore.
That's fair, but it is a real thing.
I'll look it up. Yeah.
Even I have some standards of decency.
So.
Yeah. They thought I knew because I'm a shoe guy, but I have both my feet, so I don't.
Yeah.
Oh, Jake!
Don't brag about it.
Rub it in, why don't you?
Jesus.
I don't want to be offended. You thought I would know
Read
a shoe
the
site
room,
just because I'm supposed to. If anybody should be offended, it should be me.
No, it should be gratified. And to be fair, I thought you would know about it because you're black, not because you're a shoe guy.
You see?
How am I getting away with it, Jake? I don't know. It's not the time. It's not the time for jokes like that.
It all goes back to race.
Yeah, it does.
Man.
All right. Anyway, let's get back to Lee.
Sometimes I wish I was.
I'm so sorry, Lee. Usually there's other women with here who help me reel them in, but I'm the only one. Thank God Esther's hanging around with me.
Sometimes I wish I was white and missing a limb. It would be better.
Careful what you wish for. That's what I said once, and now look at me.
Yeah, Kyle used to be black,
Yeah.
And then he was at a carnival, and then there was this like big genie thing, and he made a wish. They've made a whole documentary about it. I think Tom Hanks was in it.
You've always been white, Lee, right?
I think so. In this life, at least.
I don't think so. I don't believe you, but
got some soul. This is going good. This is going real good, guys.
This is the show, so Lee. Lee, this is the show.
Esther's like, I stuck around for this.
Yeah. I just want to make vegan macaroni like normal.
I remember when Jeff bounced so quickly last week. He was like, "Hey!" He just clicked off.
Lee, you, in addition to being a musician, you also have a theater background.
I do, yes. I grew up doing theater around Detroit. My parents are theater people. And,
which theater, or like just a bunch of local theater stuff, or?
Yeah, my dad worked at Meadowbrook for years and years in the Gem, and so I grew up doing stuff around there. And my mom's taught at a million different high schools in the northern Metro Detroit. I ended up going to MSU for theater and film, and then now I've been stage managing at the Jewish Ensemble Theater at West Bloomfield for about a year.
Oh, okay. Were you, when Margaret Egwertowski did cast there, were you involved or no?
I was not. I didn't come on board until like last fall.
Okay.
That's awesome. And you were doing some Shakespeare in the Park in Royal Oak too?
Yeah, that was last summer. Just doing the gigs that you can get, you know.
Yeah, that's cool. My house
Hello?
phone. My parents have a house phone still.
Mine do too.
I'm back in Detroit. Shut up.
Answer it.
It's not anyone. I'm sorry, guys. This is so embarrassing. Classic.
Really, I don't feel embarrassed at all. So.
What's that?
I don't feel embarrassed at all. I feel delighted.
Good. I'm glad you're not embarrassed.
Yeah.
Lee, tell us about the songs you're gonna play, or a song.
So, this song is from my band, Lee Cleaveland and the Left Hand Band. It's alliterative and a pun.
We'll put a link to your Spotify stuff.
Yeah, I'm doing that now.
Chats.
Cool. We recorded this song back in December with our buddy Rick Johnson over in Grand Rapids, and we were sitting on it for a while, and it's called I Want to Die with You by My Side, and we were hesitant to put it out because of the pandemic. We were planning on putting it out mid-March, and we're like, I don't know if we should be putting out a song called I Want to Die. But we thought about it, and it just kind of became a quarantine and chill kind of rock and roll song that we've been playing up until everything went down, and it's on Spotify and everything. And yeah.
Okay, let's check it out. Everybody go on mute, please, except for Lee, obviously. But Lee Cleveland, check it out.
Well, I woke up with you by my side, and for a moment I thought I had died. 'Cause when I rode right over and I saw you there with your big blue eyes and your brown hair, you know I'd gone up above. 'Cause I wanna die with you by my side. Yeah, you got what I need. Well, nothing ain't ever felt as good as this. I ain't ever gonna ever call you quits. You, my darling, my love. 'Cause I wanna die with you by my side. Yeah, you got what I need. Cause I wanna die with you by my side. Yeah, you got what I need. Well, thank you right now for loving me, for making me as happy as I can be. You, my darling, my love. die with you by my side. Yeah, you got what I need.
All right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That was really
Right.
soulful. Oh my God.
Yeah, that was awesome.
Great. Thanks for playing that, man.
Thanks, man.
Hey, Lee, do you remember the point where you learned that you could play guitar? Or was it like a process to figure it out?
It was kind of a process. I started playing trumpet when I was 8, and I started playing piano when I was like 10.
Mm-hmm.
And then when I was about 14, my brothers took guitar lessons, and they didn't stick with it. But I didn't have a lot of things going on at the time, so I had to like go and like sit in like this guy's house when my brothers took guitar lessons. And since I had that understanding of music theory, I learned how the guitar worked, and I understood how it worked before I actually knew how to play it. And I wanted to play it, and all the music I liked was guitar based, and so it was kind of a struggle. And so I built like a bunch of different things to hold a guitar pick, and I built like a muzzle, and I would tape picks to my hand and my arm. And then over time, I figured out that I have this little thumb at the end of my nub.
Oh, okay.
And so it's just like a little, it has a nail on it. It's like a finger and then like a little fist. And it's just like a little skin flap thing. But it hit the string at the best angle out of all the things I had. And so I just kind of did it until the bleeding stopped and the callus.
Wow. Well, that's not unlike learning to play guitar. Yeah, like you get your fingers blistered, like for a while, and then.
So then, by the time I was like 16, 17, I was able to start like playing in front of people and stuff.
Now, is your guitar strung? This is like nerding out questions, but is your guitar strung left-handed or is it just flipped over?
No, this is just flipped over. This is a normal right-handed guitar. And
okay.
So that's the low E string. And then I flip it around and play it Hendrix style.
Yeah.
We got that question from our good friend Adam James. Wanted to know if you were playing it Hendrix
I know Adam.
Yeah.
Hey.
Shout out to Adam.
No, my mom, I learned my mom's like 70s acoustic Stella guitar, and she wouldn't let me change the strings on it. And so I had to learn on like the right-handed guitar, but it worked out in the long run because not a lot of people play left-handed guitar. So if I'm hanging out with somebody or if I'm jamming, if I played left-handed guitar, I couldn't just grab somebody's guitar and play it. So it's actually worked in my favor in the long run. I just have to think about chords and scales backwards, like everything's just like upside down and backwards in my head.
I researched that a ton because we got my son his first guitar when he was 7 and he's left-handed. So I wasn't sure if we should get a left-handed one, and everyone was telling me no, get him a righty. And that's what he knows how to play. So
that's the move. People, if he jams with people for the first time, people will look at his hands and be like, what is he doing? But
is it different?
Yeah, like everything's inverted. So like a G chord for me is like that, but for everybody else, it's like that. And so it's like,
gotcha. Education.
Yeah, I'm left-handed, but I play right-handed guitars just for that reason, because my friends would come over and just like leave their guitars, and there's no way I was restringing them. Plus, I was too lazy to even try. But they make left-handed models, for if you're so inclined. But you sounds like you would be confused, like, or are you like ambidextrous? Like, could you play a left strung guitar or no?
Not really. I don't think it'd take me a little while to figure it out. And I own some left-handed guitars where it's just like, this is like a double cutout, but I have someone that just like the left-handed guitar. And then I've had people like replace the nut and then like restring everything. So it's just like, and I gave that to my buddy, and then he plays it like right-handed, but the cutaway is on the wrong side. So when he plays it, it looks really weird. And, but yeah.
That's awesome.
It's like cooking. You just got to find out what works for you.
Yeah.
I don't know why it's like cooking.
Yeah.
But it made so much more sense before I said it.
No, it's cool. I was like, I cook left-handed. That's true.
It was always a process for me too. Like I realized that I could play like right away when I was young. There was like actually right next to where I'm sitting, because I'm at my parents' basement, there was a guitar when I was a kid. I just picked it up and it like kind of came naturally. So, but then like that's how I played like all through like, my teenage years and getting into punk rock and bands and stuff like that. And then even when Fireworks started touring, I was just playing like that. But then like I like wanted some more precision, more control, and like it was like a long process of me making makeshift picks, and then I eventually got a pick company to make a custom pick for me.
Oh, really?
Oh shit!
Yeah. We toured with that band Newfound Glory, and their bass player, like, we became really good friends, and he like called this pick guy because he had like a pick sponsorship, and he was just like, "Hey, you need to make this something for my friend Kyle." And then like 2 years later, I went to like a processist and had a kind of like a pick glove basically made that a pick screws into, and then the pick company can make a custom pick for it.
Oh wow! And you still
so
like? Do they make you
dope.
a bunch of picks? Or Kyle, you've actually never played on the show, even though you book all these fantastic musical guests.
Yeah, I retired.
Let's keep it that way.
Yeah, I took
You know
a
what I'm
step
saying?
back.
Okay.
Keep them humble.
I like to keep my music and my comedy separate.
Oh, okay, that's fair. That's
I don't
fair.
like using comedy.
Well, people at the theater where Lee works doesn't even know that he plays guitar. He never even told them till right now.
Yeah.
Wow.
That's
I
true.
just
really
made
happy we could be
that
here.
up.
Oh, no, they know I play guitar. They got me out. I've played at a couple orchestra pits for them. They're like, "Oh, you can move sets and play guitar, right?" I'm like,
Yeah, and we only have to pay you for one. You know, it's show business.
He's like the Mikey.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Mikey of me.
I had a comment here in the chat. Tom Schultz, what up, though? He says, calling from the turn of the millennium. It's your house phone, Kyle O'Neill. That was a late comment.
It's his parents' house phone,
Brutal.
to be fair.
Yeah. My dad won't let it go, and my
mom got a house phone too. So,
see,
my parents do too.
I don't feel so alone.
Vectors.
I like my friends still quote to this day my answering machine growing up, which was they would call my house, and if they got the answering machine, it would just go, "This is Pat O'Neill. Kindly leave a message."
Oh,
I'm still on my parents' answering machine.
such an angel.
Really?
Are you?
Yep.
Hmm.
The rule was the kid that lived the farthest away from home. So I was living in Seattle at the time, and they just kept it.
Like saying what was the message?
Oh, it's just saying their number. You never put your name. That was like the old days of paranoia. Don't put your whole name on the answering machine.
Yeah.
Message.
Yeah.
We got a trivia question from Adam James, which is
Okay.
Kyle and I wrote a song together for the process. It was about the end of the world. Can you guess who our teacher was? Is it Sean?
That's a pretty good guess.
Was I right?
Yeah. Because the world is ending and he knows all about it.
Yeah.
he's educated.
Lee, like, I know you're super talented and stuff, but like in the music scene, like I'm still like the number one, like limb different dude, right? So
Oh yeah.
How do you guys even decide that?
Yeah, is there a power
Are there
rankings?
more
Oh, yeah.
people?
It's just
Yeah,
like-
there are. It probably goes Kyle and then Tony Memel, and then I don't even know who else.
we'll put you there.
I'm probably 3 or 4. I might be
All right.
somebody.
Hey, top 5. That's great.
Kyle's
Yeah, it's pretty
more
good.
rock and roll, and then Tony plays like children songs and like church music.
Yeah, I don't fuck with that.
But I feel like you're on the come up because Kyle felt the need to mention that he's the top dog.
Yeah,
Usually that's a sign of weakness.
I'm threatened.
Yeah, he's very I don't know why my light is so orange.
But
It's driving
I
me
just
nuts
want to
right
know
now.
that I'm the top guy right now.
Yeah, he's toured more and played
Turner.
more shows than anybody else like us. So I'd say that he's a top dog.
Yeah. Don't you forget it until
Yeah.
you're the top dog, which you're on your way.
Yeah. And let's not forget about another song.
Yeah, I was just gonna say, do you want to play another song for us?
Sure. This one's called "Don't Hit My Line." It's off my first EP. And this is all stripped down stuff. The full band is 2 guitars, bass, and drums and saxophone. And so we kind of have more of like a rounded out song, but I think this one sounds pretty good.
Awesome.
Just about getting dumped and then seeing your ex everywhere.
All right, Lee Cleaveland, everybody.
Yeah.
All right, take it away.
Don't hit my line no more. I'm no longer yours. Said you didn't love me, claimed you didn't need me. Don't knock on my door. Said it wasn't me but you. Couldn't love like I do. You couldn't be with me, be with me no more. Said you didn't love me, claimed you didn't need me. Never thought something was wrong. Came right out of nowhere, never saw it coming. Kicked me when I was down. Said it wasn't me but you. Couldn't love like I do. You couldn't be with me, be with me no more. Said it wasn't me but you. Couldn't love like I do. You couldn't be.
All right.
You to me when we go like this. If you ain't gotta stand next to me, then don't. If you ain't gotta wink at me, then stop. I've been counting my rosary just so you'll stop teasing me. Said you didn't love me, so I know what you want. Said you didn't love me, so I know what you want. Said you didn't love me, so I know what you want. Said you didn't love me, so I know what you want.
Yay!
Sorry about that. I thought you
so
cut out there.
funny.
I thought you cut out there for a second. So I was like, all right.
All right.
And then you kept playing. I'm like, oh, that's not. I messed up very badly.
Tony came a
It's
little
really
early.
funny because
Yeah.
we
Never.
can see Tony's face, but everyone else can't because it was on speaker view when he's playing, and Tony was just like, "Oh, it's really funny." But it was a great song. I'm really into your energy, man.
Can you talk a little bit about what the song's about, Lee?
Yeah, that one was just like it was just a breakup a song I wrote a long time ago.
I guess should I say, is it about a specific person you kept running into?
Yeah, it's just somebody in a friend group, and it's like, oh, you're at my house because you're hanging out with my roommate. All right, cool, like like that kind of thing. But
there,
yeah, we're cool. It's just like we're friends, but it was at the time it's just like it started out as a punk song, and then it turned into like a Mac DeMarco song, and it just musically was like working its way around for a long time, and then we've kind of fallen into this groove of like kind of 60s surf pop stuff. We started out, it's the band started out as just like me and a acoustic guitar and a harmonica, and it was a lot more folk punk, but now we're going in a more polished direction.
Nice. What is your ex's address?
I don't.
I just want to get some revenge for you, man.
You want to dox her right now on the stream?
No, thank you. No, thank you.
You have a benefit coming up, right?
Yeah, I'm playing first live show in a while. I'm not sure if it's actually gonna happen or not now that the spike's going back up. But a lot of venues in Detroit are starting to open back up. So I had one for May that was rescheduled for July 11th. It's at Penelope's venue in Southgate, and it is a benefit show for the Detroit Justice Center. It's a free show, but we're trying to raise money for them, do our part, and it's half capacity. You got to wear a mask, and if you feel safe, but don't come if you do not feel safe, and be wise. And if you please donate to the Detroit Justice Center and help out the protesters and everybody involved downtown.
That's awesome.
Yeah, that'll be very cool. Yeah, thanks so much for being on, Lee.
Man, that was awesome.
It was good to hang with you.
And we posted the links to a couple Spotify links to your stuff, and then also some information to the Penelopes thing. All of his social media, you can follow him at Lee_Cleveland with an E. We'll paste that in there too.
AVE.
Yeah. Is that your real last name, by the way?
Yeah. And
wow,
it's like
you're messed up on the flyer. I'm sorry.
Cleaving land. It's a pain for everybody.
Yeah, there's actually a city named Cleveland, but it's spelled differently, and that's
why. Really?
Yeah.
The city was spelled like my last name, but they changed it. The city was founded by General Moses Cleveland, and his name was spelled like mine, but they couldn't fit the Cleveland Times on the top of the newspaper, and so instead of changing the font size, they just dropped the A out of the name.
Wow,
that's so Ohio, though.
That's hilarious.
That is very Ohio.
God, how can we make this harder and dumber?
Yeah.
Sorry, Ohio, but not really.
Do you think you're related to Old Mo?
According to my grandpa, he's like a 19th cousin or something.
Nice.
Yeah.
What a legacy.
Yeah, 19th cousin started.
Yeah.
Old Mo.
Yeah.
Well, I consider you the most notable Cleveland, Lee. So.
Thank you. Yeah.
You are of this time.
I like hanging with you better than I
you
like.
are what America needs.
You're gonna dethrone me as the top dog. I know it.
Yeah.
I'm enjoying my time. I'm a legend. Don't
watch
forget.
out. Yeah, watch out, Kyle. Lee's gunning for you. Lee, thanks so much for being on.
Thank you. It was awesome.
Thanks for having me.
Let's hang soon.
That was great.
Yeah, he's awesome.
I was very impressed. I've never seen a differently limbed person do the picking with the limb, just the limb, you know. I've seen like contraptions, you know what I mean? Like you talked about, and good music too. Cool guitar.
Yeah, that was
I nerd
awesome.
out on guitars.
He described it perfectly as like 60s beach music. I was totally getting that vibe a little bit. Yeah. And it was cool. A little bluesy.
Esther, thoughts on Leah? What'd you think of it?
That was awesome. That's great. Yeah. I used to work at Wright and Philippus, which has a prosthetics department.
Yeah.
I didn't know that there's way less people that have prosthetic arms than legs.
Really? Okay. I guess I never thought about it.
Know that either.
Yeah, because there was a whole department for legs, and then there was one room. There's they called it the lab for legs, and then there's one room. They're like, "This is the arms." I'm like,
oh wow!
Why? But
it's like the big and tall of prosthetics. You have to go to like.
He does have an arm as well, like a bionic arm. Which
in the picture in the flyer, I noticed that. Yeah, and I was like, I wasn't sure what was going on there, and then I became aware. So it's actually bionic.
Yeah. I mean,
wow.
We should ask him about it, but because
all right, everybody, welcome to
coming back on the show for our third hour.
Yeah, I had one too as a child, and I until I was like maybe 9 or something, and I hated it because it was 80s, early 90s, and it was like primitive technology compared to
I see.
Yeah,
it was like super heavy and like sweaty, and like I didn't need it for anything. Like I learned to play guitar and play hockey without it.
Like you could get
I have a lot more anatomy than like Lee, for example, does.
Yeah, but like you could actually it was articulated, like you could like grip things with it.
Yeah. If I like flicked my wrist up, it would open, and then like if I flipped it the other way, it would close. So
well, Kate, makes me ask the question, Kyle. Did you ever with the prosthetic limb?
I was not telepathically sending you anything, Tony.
You were 8 years. You were 8 years old.
Mind.
Yeah,
I didn't hear that part. I'm sorry. I thought you said 14.
Nope. I was maybe 9 at the oldest.
Okay.
So
you did try, is what you're saying?
Yeah.
That's cool.
No,
there was with that one trip to the ER that the family agreed to never speak about again.
Yeah.
Did your parents warn you about that actually? Because if I had a kid, I would warn mom, like, don't grab yourself with this.
I don't think so.
And also, did it have like an amazing amount of like pounds per square inch? Did you become like the school bully? You know what I mean? Like if you pinched someone, you could like break their finger.
I probably could. It was probably super heavy.
Wow.
But I can be a bully without it though.
That's true.
Yeah, you can.
We all know that. We're all scared of you, Kyle.
This hand's all done.
Like we don't even have to do this remotely. We just do it because it's safer.
Yeah.
Yeah. Do you ever aspire or like wonder, like, you know what I mean? Like, I'd like to have one at some point with the new technology where you can just like, because you see these things on YouTube where you just like, you think it and it moves like that.
I'm curious to see like what if I can find like insurance to cover, because they're so expensive and stuff.
Yeah.
I would, like, and it's not necessarily a necessity for me, but like it would be cool to explore, and it would maybe help with some things. So
all the people I've seen like videos of it were all military veterans that had them.
I might
But
join.
don't they know that you're the #1 musician?
Yeah.
And they better not forget it. And I'm gonna be the number one.
Yeah, you should ask the bass
player.
The
number one soldier in the army.
You found glory to get him.
Yeah, ask the bass player if he can, if that pick company can make you a prosthetic arm. It's like, like it's just for the pick, but build a prosthetic arm around it. You know.
Yeah.
But for you, it'd just be like a prosthetic, like
it's just a hand, basically.
Yeah, a hand. Yeah.
You guys know we're still live, right? This
is
like
is that bad?
After conversation. It just felt like very much like we forgot.
Yeah, I feel like we should still have Leah in all this too.
That's good about we should shout out what?
No, I just was saying like Lee could have been a good part of this conversation as well.
I know. But again, that's the good and bad part about the show is just like there's tangent. It's just a group of friends talking, so you don't know what comes up.
Yeah, really what
it's real.
We party.
Well, before we leave, Kyle, did you want to plug your fireworks thing so I can send the link out?
Yeah.
So for the month of June, all the money that fireworks makes in our web store is going to the Detroit Justice Center as well. So it's at coldcutsmerch.com/fireworks. So anything you can do helps. So, or just donate straight to them if you don't want our merch, which is also fine too.
Charlie Matt says I'm liking the conversation. I assume he's talking about the merch and not about Kyle's cybernetic upgrade.
Yeah, I back to being a soldier. Back to being a soldier thing. I've got accused of, not accused. I don't know what the
stolen glory.
No, but like people have been like have come up to me and be like, thank you for your service.
Do you say you're welcome? Please tell me.
One time it was like a drunk I had at one of our shows in Portland, and I got in a lot of trouble because I was like, you're welcome. And then he kept like asking me questions because he served, and he was like, what did you serve? And then I eventually like told him that I worked in administration. Deeper, and then it just got weird, and like then we went inside the venue, and then a friend that was on tour with us, like I guess during our set, he came outside and the guy tried to fight him, and then he got arrested. So
wow.
But why did he say that?
Just because he saw my hand and thought that I was like I lost my hand, and
it just assumed that.
Yeah, there's no other way it could have happened. And
that's crazy.
Yeah.
He's probably looking for someone to relate to.
What's that?
He was probably just looking for someone to relate to.
Yeah.
Yeah, because that was probably the most interesting thing about him.
Yeah.
I thought you were brothers in arms, you know?
It's happened like a few times. I think the other times it was like, have you served? And I'll be like, no. But like it could that could have just been a question, but like I don't
think they're testing you.
I'm a little sus.
Nothing's ever enough, is it? That's what the lesson is.
Yeah.
Could you imagine Kyle though serving though? Like for real though?
Yeah.
He'd be like the upbeat guy. He'd be like the upbeat guy that comes back a stone cold killer, man.
Yeah.
Like they call him Livonia, like, hey, what happened? What happened to Livonia, man? The sweet kid I knew. It's like he's dead. Left him back in the poppy fields of Afghanistan.
The poppy changed me.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Along with my innocence. Anyway, guys, that's the show. Esther, thanks so much for being on. Check out the Brownie Comedy Show on YouTube. Check out Hungry as a Horse on Saturdays on the Planet Ant streaming channels. Anything else you want to plug? Esther Toy on all your socials.
Yeah, on social media, and watch Jeff Horse's Roast This Post episodes. I think he plugged that last time, but now he can put them up with a donation, and now I'm like, all right, next one he puts up, what is it? Detroit Justice League?
Justice Center.
The Justice Center.
I like your name better, though. Detroit Justice League.
I don't know what is it for the for bail and for protesters,
Yeah.
lawyers, fees and such. Now, what is it called again? I'm sorry.
Detroit Justice Center.
All right. Detroit Justice Center.
Yeah. But
Awesome.
this is being recorded. I'll watch it later, but no, that's what he puts up. We'll put a link for donations for that.
yeah.
So
And if you
cool.
want the next DC movie to be shot in Detroit, go to DetroitJusticeLeague.org and you can donate to that. That's where my money's going. Sorry, Jake. Anyway, thanks to Kyle, thanks to myself, thanks to Kate Holmes, thanks to Jake Russell.
Andy and Katie, come back. Never again.
And Nick.
Don't do this to me.
Don't forget about Nicholas.
Oh, Nicholas,
and Esther, thanks so much. Say hi to Jeff Ross. Enjoy LA. We're expecting big things from you. Blow them out of the water. And to our audience, thanks for sticking with us. Yeah, absolutely.
I loved it.
Thank you so much.
And also our audience, thanks for sticking with us for 14 episodes and support Planet Ant, planetant.com.
The CO3 5, I don't know. Andy usually does it. It's a
nonprofit. It's a nonprofit. It's for a good cause. All right. Have a good night, everybody.